You can. The incredible carpenters, laborers, all of the members of the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 18, I appreciate all of you. Your support has been amazing. Your support has been so great, right from the beginning. And each of you is living proof that American workers are truly the best in the world, right? The best. Rick Dalton and Mike Totman, thank you very much for hosting us. Where are you guys? Where are they? Where are you? Thank you, fellas. Nice looking guys. Nice looking guys. We're also pleased to be joined by two members of my cabinet, Secretary of Transportation, Elaine Chao, and Secretary of Labor, Alex Acosta. They've done a fantastic job. We're especially happy to have some of our great Ohio leaders with us today. Lieutenant Governor Mary Taylor. Mary. State Auditor Dave Yost. Thank you. Congressman Bob Gibbs, Bill Johnson, and Jim Renacci. Good. Great people. Thank you. Good. Great people. They're tough congressmen, I will tell you that. But they're for the workers, right? They're for the workers. They're for the country. Tell you that. They are for the country. Joined by our friends here in Ohio, my administration is fighting every day to protect and defend and grow American jobs. And you see what's happening all over the country. It's in Ohio, but it's all over the country. Pouring back plants and factories, pouring back into our country. They can't come back fast enough. Even if you look, Apple going to invest $350 billion. When I heard $350 billion, I said, you must mean $350 million. That's still a big plant. But they're going to be investing $350 billion. So many others coming back with massive amounts of money. They all want to be back in the USA. A lot of them left. They're coming back. We've eliminated a record number of job-killing regulations. That's one of the reasons they're coming back. And we're not finished yet. In some cases, you have statutory limitations where you have to go 30 days and wait, and then you have to go 90 days and wait, and then you have to go 15 days and wait, and then you go 90 days again, and then, you know what happens? We kill the regulation. And it's a thing of beauty. And we have filled out every form, every legal application, and we still actually have a long way to go on regulation. And we're going to have regulations. You need regulations for safety and for the environment, but not where you couldn't do anything, you couldn't move. So I think that's been a big, big success and a reason for our success. And we've made history by massively reducing job-killing taxes. And we didn't have one Democrat who voted for that. They want to raise your taxes. And they want people to come in from the border. And they want, I can't imagine they want, but certainly drugs are flowing across borders. We need walls. We started building our wall. I'm so proud of it. We started. We have 1.6 billion. And we've already started. You saw the pictures yesterday. I said, what a thing of beauty. And on September 28th, we go further, and we're getting that sucker built. And you think that's easy? People said, oh, has he given up on the wall? No, I never give up. We have 1.6 billion toward the wall, and we've done the planning. And you saw those beautiful pictures, and the wall looks good. It's properly designed. That's what I do, is I build. I was always very good at building. It was always my best thing. I think better than being president, I was maybe good at building. Like you people, you're good at building. I think maybe we'll be better at president, David. That would be good. But we are building a really state-of-the-art, very, very efficient. Have to be able to see through, makes a lot of sense. You have to be able to see who's on the other side. Nobody would even think of it. We've done prototypes all over, and we have something special happening. We've reversed the dangerous defense cuts, and we're giving our warfighters the tools, funding, and equipment they need to fight and to win. We have we're building up our military to the highest level it's ever been, and it was not in good shape. But it's now going to be very soon the highest level it's ever been. And by the way, that means jobs too. That's defense, always number one. Defense is number one. Even you job folks would say defense is number one. But it's a lot of jobs, millions of jobs. We've unleashed American energy independence. Energy exports are at a record high, and foreign imports are at their lowest level in much more than a decade. We've stood up for the American workers by finally cracking down on unfair trade that steals our jobs and plunders our wealth. They've stolen our wealth, they've stolen our jobs, they've stolen our plants and factories. No more. We're not letting other countries take advantage of us. Even our friends took advantage. Our friends are friends, they're wonderful people, but we said you can't do that anymore. Those days are over. Frankly, our friends did more damage to us than our enemies, because we didn't deal with our enemies. We dealt with our friends, and we dealt incompetently, because we're now finally putting America first. America first. Just this week, we secured a wonderful deal with South Korea. We were in a deal that was a horror show. It was going to produce 200,000 jobs, and it did, for them. That was a Hillary Clinton special, I hate to say it. This will produce 200,000 jobs. She was right, but it was for them. It wasn't for us. So we've redone it, and that's going to level the playing field on steel and cars and trucks coming into this country. And I may hold it up till after a deal is made with North Korea. Does everybody understand that? Do you know why, right? Do you know why? Because it's a very strong card. And I want to make sure everyone is treated fairly, and we're moving along very nicely with North Korea. We'll see what happens. Certainly, the rhetoric has calmed down just a little bit. Would you say? Would you say? And we'll see how it all turns out. Maybe it'll be good, and maybe it won't. And if it's no good, we're walking. And if it's good, we will embrace it. But it's going to be very interesting over the next period of time. And South Korea has been wonderful. But we'll probably hold that deal up for a little while, see how it all plays out. We're keeping our promises, and the results are in. 3 million new jobs since Election Day. 3 million. And if I would have said that to you during the campaign, where we had tremendous support in this great state of Ohio, if I would have said 3 million jobs, they would have said, the fake news, he's exaggerating. Oh, they're fake. Unemployment claims are at their lowest level in 45 years. Lowest level. 45 years! African American unemployment has reached the lowest levels ever recorded. Remember? Remember I said, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? And I'm so happy about that. Hispanic American unemployment rate has also reached the lowest levels ever recorded. And wages are rising at the fastest level in more than a decade. Finally, 19 years, 21 years, people were making, last year, were making less money than they made 20 years ago. Now wages are rising because more jobs are happening. And very important, just like we're going to have choice at the VA, we're going to have choice for these great people, you're going to also have choice with jobs. You're going to have choice with jobs. Our veterans are going to have choice, and you're going to have choice with jobs. And now with our friends in Ohio, we're launching the next phase of America's economic comeback. We're going to rebuild America's crumbling infrastructure. Now, we're going to probably we have a very important election coming up, and they don't like the wins we've been getting. They don't like that the economy, the Democrats, they don't like that the economy is so strong. They don't like that they don't have one vote on the tax cuts. Not one vote. And they're all now saying, those tax cuts are tough. What they're saying to each other is not pretty if you're a Democrat. And we should do well. History says that when you win the presidency, that party doesn't do so well in the midterms. Because people get complacent. They get complacent. We cannot be complacent. We've got the greatest economy maybe ever, maybe in history. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. You know the expression from, I guess it was Bill Clinton, it's the economy, stupid. Well, it is the economy. If we have produced in a short period of time, because believe me, if our party, if we, all together, it's we, if we didn't win, this economy would be a wreck. They would have added more regulations. You wouldn't have 3 million jobs. You'd probably go negative. Your 3.2 GDPs and 3 and 2.9 would have been below, in my opinion, would have been below 1. This country was headed in the wrong direction. We can't lose that by getting hurt in the midterms. So we can't be complacent. There's never been an economy like this. Everyone says it's the most important thing. And I don't know that it is or that it isn't. But politically, they always say it's the most important thing. We cannot let anything happen to stop what we're doing and where we're going. And all of the workers and all of the jobs, we want to keep them. And we want to protect our Second Amendment. You saw the other day, we're a very important... We're a very important and respected, in some circles, Democrat, said we should get rid of our Second Amendment. In other words, get rid of it. That's really... it's tyranny. Could be right about that. So we're going to protect our Second Amendment. That's not going to happen. We have the best judges. We put on a tremendous amount of great federal district court judges. We'll be setting records. We are setting records. Appeals court judges, Supreme Court judge, fantastic, Justice Gorsuch. And we'll continue. But your Second Amendment will always be your Second Amendment. We're not doing anything to that. Not doing anything. We will breathe new life into your very rundown highways, railways, and waterways. We'll transform our roads and bridges from a source of endless frustration into a source of absolutely incredible pride. And we're going to do it all under budget and ahead of schedule. You ever hear those words in the public world? Under budget and ahead of schedule. And, one of the things that I just want to go on a little detour for a second, one of the things that wasn't mentioned by the folks in the back that we got recently in the bill was school safety. And with the Stop School Violence Act was passed. That's the Sandy Hook people, the great people of Sandy Hook. They wanted it so badly. That was done. We fixed very strongly the background checks. We got rid of the bump stocks. The bump stocks now are under very strict control, which I think everybody agrees it's fine. And we really did a job. Nobody reported it. Doesn't get reported. If somebody else does it, it's like a big story. But it didn't. And you know, fixing the background checks was so important. And it's a very, very strong fix of background checks. So I wanted to add that while we talk about infrastructure, while we talk about school safety, so important, but while we talk about all of these other things, that was part of what we got approved. And another part, so important for Ohio, because I know you have a bigger problem than most, is opioids and drugs. We got $6 billion that nobody talked about. $6 billion. $6 billion to fight the opioid problem and the drug problem. So it's another thing. And we got the down payment, $1.6 billion on the wall, and we got a lot of other things. Frankly, if we had more Republican votes, we wouldn't have had to give away what we gave away, which many of the people in this room, including me, don't like, because it was a waste in many cases. But the Democrats want things. They don't want to focus on crime and borders and people pouring into our country, many of whom are not the people we want to come in. We want a merit-based immigration system. We want people to come in on merit, not based on a lottery. You pick a ticket. So there's no better place to begin the campaign of infrastructure than right here in Ohio at the state-of-the-art training site. They've done a fantastic job right in this building, where the awesome skills of the American worker are forged and refined. It's true. I've been in construction and building all my life. I love it. I love the smell of a construction site, right? There's just something about it. And, you know, we didn't always get, although in this case we did nicely, but we didn't always get the union leadership or the big unions, but we got the workers. We got the workers. And some of those leaders had big problems because the workers were with Trump, because they know I hired the Teamsters, thousands of Teamsters, and I hired all of the carpenters and the electricians and all of the people that built a lot of buildings in Manhattan and all over the place. And they got it. The workers got it. And now I think the leadership is actually getting it. I really believe that. I think the leadership is getting it. Because you're going to have a great friend, and now I've proven. You know, before I used to say you're going to have a friend, but now I've proven you've got a friend in the White House. That's why we're building all of these projects. So many of these projects which were just dead projects, like the Keystone pipeline. It was dead. It wasn't going anywhere. Hillary wasn't going to approve it. Nobody was. It was a dead project. I got in almost like right at the beginning. I approved that Keystone XL pipeline, and I approved the Dakota Access pipeline, both of them. 48,000 jobs, environmentally great. It was nothing, it was quick, it was easy, and it was done properly. And they'll be flowing in, and that's better than trucking over the roads. That's better than any other way. And it wasn't going to get approved. There were so many jobs like that. You know those two because they were getting a lot of attention. You know the amazing thing? I approved them. I thought would have like some commotion, right? Some commotion, like some protest. Nobody. I approved it. The pickets, they picked up their stuff and they left. That was the end of it. They left a mess, I have to tell you. You know about the mess. Became an environmental wasteland. What they left. You know about that. But I approved it and they left. We did that on a lot of things. Whether it's Jerusalem, where we approved Jerusalem, that was a big thing. Every politician was in support, and then they became president, and guess what? All of a sudden it was Jerusalem. I don't know anything about Jerusalem. They didn't want to know about it. Well, I fulfilled my campaign promises. And I have to tell you, I believe, and a couple of people have said it, and it's very early yet. You know, we're only into about 15 months. But I think I've approved much more than I've promised. And no politician. I have gotten done much more than I promised. I promised certain things. We've done a lot of things that I didn't even promise because I figured it couldn't happen. And now, with so many of our great secretaries and leaders, we're doing incredible things on health care because Obamacare is a disaster. We got rid of as you know, the individual mandate, which forced you to spend money for the privilege of not having to pay for health insurance. Okay, you figure that one out. It's gone, folks. It's gone. It's gone. And Alex Acosta, Secretary of Labor, is doing an incredible plan for co-ops and for various different elements where you go in and you get together as a group and you're going to get incredible health care, highly bid. You're going to get so many different bids and you're going to have great health care at a very, very low price. It's going to be a lot of people signing up, and that's going to be out over the next couple of months, Alex, right? You've been working on it, and it's going to come out. Nobody even thought of it. Co-ops and all sorts of people, they're going to get together, and they're going to buy their health care together, and it's going to be so inexpensive, it's a thing of beauty. That's going to be a big percentage of Obamacare, too, a big percentage. And we have other things. Nearly 40% of our bridges were built before the first moon landing. You know, you go to some countries, they're building bridges all over the place. All over, you have bridges going up. One particular country, I won't use it because they're very friendly to me. They weren't friendly to us as a nation, but now they're friendly to me. They're building 29 bridges. We don't build bridges like very much anymore. A little bit every once in a while. But our roads are clogged. We have average drivers spend 42 hours every year stuck in traffic, costing us at least $160 billion annually. Our mass transit systems are a mess. They're dilapidated and they're decayed. Nationwide, we average 300 power outages per year, compared to just 5 per year in the 1980s. A total mess. And a lot of it is because some of these power companies, they have the money. They have the wherewithal. They couldn't get their approvals. They couldn't get their permits. For years and years and years, they're trying to get permits. Now they get them really fast. Now they're getting them so fast. One man told me, what the hell happened? We've been fighting for years. All of a sudden, I got a call. We just were approved. We didn't even try. And some consultants are going to be making a lot of money. They're going to say, sir, we need $2 million for the great job we did on getting you approved. They didn't do a damn thing. Except Trump got elected. That's about all. That's about all. How about, I tell this, because, you know, being a builder, we can all talk as friends. We're all builders in this room. Look at these people back there. You better believe they're builders. They're builders. No game. But I tell the story about Keystone, where years and years, you've watched it, years and years, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars. They were even ordering their pipe. Everything's going great. They're going to build. It's years, but they're happy. They don't get approved. They spend billions on pipe. They ordered the pipe, and they're not getting approved. So anyway, that was dead for a couple of years and no chance. I get elected. I approve it almost like in the first day, right at the very beginning. And I just say to myself, can you imagine the boss of whatever the hell company it is, who never actually called me to say thank you, but that's okay. We'll remember. So this guy's sitting behind this beautiful chair in a certain place. I know exactly where. Nice place. Big company. And the consultants march into his office to tell him what a great job they did. They were dead. They had no chance. They failed. I got it approved. And I did it because it's 48,000 jobs between the two of them. And I did it because it's also better. It's better. Sir, I believe we're entitled to a $10 million fee for that. Oh, those people. And they're probably Democrats, can you believe it? Probably not for long, however. In recent years, Americans have watched as Washington spent trillions and trillions of dollars building up foreign countries while allowing our own country's infrastructure to fall into a state of total disrepair. Look at Korea. We have a border at Korea. We have a wall of soldiers. We don't get paid very much for this, do we? You look at that, nobody comes through. But our own border, we don't take care of it. Think of it. We spend billions of dollars in other countries maintaining their borders, and we can't maintain our borders in our own country. Is there something a little bit wrong with that? Think of it. We spend billions and billions of dollars. Look, North and South Korea, 32,000 soldiers. Their finest equipment, barbed wire all over the place. We protect that whole thing. Nobody comes through, but our country, we don't do it. Things are changing, folks. But now is the time to rebuild our country, to take care of our people, and to fight for our great American workers for a change. We spent, and I was against it from the beginning. They try and say, well, maybe not. I was against it from the beginning. And by the way, we're knocking the hell out of ISIS. We'll be coming out of Syria like very soon. Let the other people take care of it now. Very soon. Very soon we're coming out. We're going to have 100% of the caliphate, as they call it, sometimes referred to as land. We're taking it all back quickly. But we're going to be coming out of there real soon. Going to get back to our country, where we belong, where we want to be. But just think of it. We spent, as of 3 months ago, $7 trillion, not billion, not million, 7 trillion with a T. Nobody ever heard of the word trillion until 10 years ago. We spent $7 trillion in the Middle East. We'd build a school, they'd blow it up. We'd build it again, they'd blow it up. We'd build it again. Hasn't been blown up yet, but it will be. But if we want a school in Ohio to fix the windows, you can't get the money. If you want a school in Pennsylvania or Iowa to get federal money, you can't get the money. We spent $7 trillion in the Middle East. And you know what we have for it? Nothing. Remember, I used to say, keep the oil. As a civilian, I used to say, did anybody hear me say that? That's before I decided to go on this journey with all of you. I got tired of watching. I used to say, keep the oil. We never kept the oil. If we kept the oil, we would have been okay. If we kept the oil, we wouldn't have ISIS. Because you know who kept a lot of the oil? ISIS. That's how they funded themselves. They kept the oil. We didn't keep the oil. Stupid. But we spent $7 trillion, but we barely have money for the infrastructure. We have to fight for our military. But we're becoming so strong again. And you watch, not going to take very long. I've asked Republicans and Democrats in Congress to come together and deliver the biggest and boldest infrastructure plan in the last half century. I don't think you're going to get Democrat support very much. And you'll probably have to wait till after the election, which isn't so long down the road. But we're going to get this infrastructure going. The plan generates an unprecedented $1.5 trillion investment in American infrastructure. We probably have to wait till after the election. Because the Democrats say, don't give him any more wins. Don't give him any more wins. Regulations, cut taxes, Supreme Court, judges all over the place. You know, when I got in, we had over 100 federal judges that weren't appointed. Now, I don't know why Obama left that. It was like a big, beautiful present to all of us. Why the hell did he leave that? Maybe he got complacent. But now we have about 145 federal district judges. We have 17 Court of Appeals judges. And as I said, we have the one Supreme Court judge. But think of 145 district judges. That's world-changing, country-changing, USA-changing, and we're going all out. We have unbelievably talented, smart, great people being put in those slots. But we were left the present. I never said this before. It was like the gift from heaven. We were left judges. They're the ones that judge on your disputes. They judge on what's fair on the environment and what's not fair, where they're going to take your farms and factories away and where they're not. Amazing. It was the gift. Thank you very much, President Obama. We all appreciate it. Thank you. What happened? How did he do that? How did he do that? We're going to be repairing roads, delivering clean water, and we're going to have crystal clean water. We're going to have clean, beautiful air. But we're not going to pay $1 trillion to be in the Paris Accord, where it puts us way back, where we are put at such a tremendous disadvantage. That was a disaster for this country. We couldn't use the kind of assets that we have. We would have had to close up factories and companies in order to qualify. We would have had to pay large amounts of money to other countries because they were developing. As far as I'm concerned, we're developing. Pay us some money, right? Pay us. We're developing. Maybe we'll call it we're redeveloping, because we're redeveloping. But it was unfair. We're going to be investing in our workers and improving our healthcare facilities for our incredible veterans. We're making some changes that are good. And we've made a lot of progress with the veterans, but I want to get them choice. And they didn't give us choice. The Democrats didn't want the vets to have choice. When the vets are online, because there's a 25-day wait, there's a 6-month wait. Guys are online and women. They're vets, they're great, they're our greatest people. And they got a problem. And it could be fixed. By the time they see the doctor, it's over. It's over. Not gonna happen. We're gonna have real choice. That's why I made some changes, because I wasn't happy with the speed with which our veterans were taken care of. I wasn't happy with it. And we made a lot of progress. The Accountability Act. For years they've been trying to get it. For decades they've been trying to get VA accountability. When somebody does a bad job in the Veterans Administration, they couldn't do anything about it. They were protected. You could do anything. They had sadists that treated our vets horribly. Horribly. Worse than a movie. They had people that wouldn't work. You couldn't do anything. I had passed the VA accountability, the Accountability Act. And now when they're bad to our vets or when they're not working for our vets, we say, hey, Jim, you're fired. Get out of here, Jim. Get out. Get out. That was a big deal. That was a big deal. No accountability. We got that passed. Nobody talks about it. They don't talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. But I'm doing that for the vets, and we made changes because we want them taken care of. We want them to have choice so that they can run to a private doctor and take care of it. And it's going to get done. Thank you, honey. It's going to get done. We'll always protect the people that have protected us. We have to. And that goes for law enforcement. We're going to protect our law enforcement, our military, our vets, right? The plan I've outlined in Congress is built on 4 key principles. It can be passed in one bill or in a series of measures. What matters is that we get the job done. First, we'll invest in the American worker. My Council of Economic Advisors estimates that our plan will create up to 400,000 new infrastructure jobs almost immediately. For workers without a college degree, these jobs offer wages that are 32% higher than other occupations. These are great people, great workers, and they're great paying jobs. I also want more Americans to learn from the best, just like you have really learned, the people in this room, so many of them, you've learned from the best. Local 18's groundbreaking apprenticeship program. True. Has become one of the largest anywhere in America. And we want to replicate your success all across the country, and we're studying exactly what you've done here. That's why I'm asking Congress to improve federal student aid to include high-quality, short-term training programs that equip Americans to succeed in construction and the skilled trades. A word that you don't hear much, but when I was growing up, we had what was called vocational schools. They weren't called community colleges, because I don't know what that means, a community college. To me, it means a 2-year college. I don't know what it means. But I know what vocational, and I tell people, call it vocational from now on. It's a great word. It's a great word. Call it vocational and technical, perhaps. But use vocational, because that's what it's all about. People know what that means. We don't know what a community college means. We want every American to know the dignity of work, the pride of a paycheck, and the satisfaction of a job well done. And speaking of a job well done, we have 2 of my daughters here today. Ivanka, who's working hard on infrastructure, Ivanka, and Tiffany. America's greatest treasure is our people, and I saw that during the campaign. They came from everywhere. Remember, they said there's no way that Donald Trump can get the people. They had people that they didn't know existed. Now the Democrats are trying to figure out who the hell you are. You know who you are? You're hard-working people. You work your asses off, and you got sick and tired of the people that you were supposed to be voting for, and you stopped. But you came out for us, and you know what? Now you're very happy, because this was a movement like they've never seen before. They've never seen any movement like this, and I appreciate it, and you're going to appreciate it. You already do. Thank you. We will completely transform the horrible and costly and broken permitting process. The current permitting system is a disaster. It takes forever. It adds tremendous costs and years of endless delay to infrastructure projects all across the country. As just one example of how broken the system is, Secretary Chow recently gave a final approval to an environmental review in Alaska that started all the way back in 1975. It's been going on for more than 40 years, and we just got it, right? Just got it, Elaine. Just got it. In fact, the people of Alaska, they couldn't believe it. They said, we don't believe it. They said, you got it. We'll get rid of the bureaucracy that wastes time and kills jobs. We had a highway in a certain wonderful state that was going to be a quick, easy road to build. That was 17 years ago. It was going to cost a very small amount of money, a couple of $1 million. It ends up costing close to $300 million. Got their approvals recently. The road is no longer a straight shot. It's now, not good if you're not feeling so good behind the wheel. Got to make another turn. They had to take care of all the nesting. It's cost a lot of money and took many years. It's out of control, and we're going to stop that nonsense. We're going to stop it. Under our plan, every project will have one point of contact that will deliver one decision, yes or no, for the entire federal government. Yes or no? You have to go through different agencies. You go through labor, you go through transportation, you go through another one, EPA, where we've really streamlined the system, where we have really made it possible for people to get things done. So many projects are under construction right now that would never, ever in a million years have gotten built. And guess what? We also turn down projects if they're wrong. We know if they're wrong. They know if they're wrong. We turn down projects. But if you get turned down, you get turned down quickly. You don't go along for 15 or 18 or 22 years. I mean, some people have spent an entire lifetime trying to get a project approved, and they don't get it approved. And their working career is like mostly over. That can't be a good feeling, right? How about that? Can't be a good feeling. But if you get turned down, we're going to say it. America built the Empire State Building in 1 year. Think of it. 1 year. It's actually like 9 months. Can you believe that? Tallest building in the world at the time. Now it can take 10 years just to get permits to build a roadway, a tunnel, even in some cases a building. And that's an insult to America's great building heritage, and we will not accept it, and we're changing it rapidly. It's already been changed. We're going to do even better. I hope to get it down to a 1 year period. We have a lot of them down to 2 years now, but it's from 2 years from 20 and 18 and 15 and 12. But we're going to try getting it down even quicker. We're going to protect the environment and cut the permit approval time, and we're going to get things done. We're going to get them built, or we're going to tell you, no good for the environment, sorry, don't bother. But for the most part, it's going to happen. We're going to provide a $50 billion commitment to build infrastructure in rural communities, which are too often left behind. They've been forgotten. They've been forgotten. We're going to spend a lot of money on the rural communities that have not been taken care of, and these are incredible people. These are hard-working people, and they haven't been taken care of by the Democrats. These funds will help ensure that every community is connected and has access to modern infrastructure, including broadband internet, which has been left out. Very unfair. Fourth and finally, we'll expand the reach of federal dollars through smart state and local partnerships. We're going to have some really smart partnerships. Our plan calls for a new incentive program that provides billions of dollars in federal funding to projects in which states and local governments and the private sector are willing to invest their own resources as well as the federal government. So there'll be an incentive to get things done and get things done properly and in the right location and the right bridge or road or tunnel or whatever you are going to build. By combining federal tax dollars with the resources of state and local governments and partnering with the private sector, this incentive program will kickstart funding needed to build new projects and repair existing ones. The first elements of this plan have already been put in place. We have made so much progress. It's not progress that you read about or hear about. Of course, if it were, they wouldn't print it anyway, but that's okay. They don't do that. I've signed an executive order to speed up permitting and to expand the rural broadband. We're cutting through mountains of red tape. We've secured more funding for highways, airports, railroads, and our nation's water infrastructure. In addition to the $1.6 billion for the wall, we've got $21 billion approved for infrastructure in the current bill that a lot of people don't hear about. We've obtained from Congress an additional $2 billion to improve veterans' medical facilities. That's everything they wanted. $2 billion for the veterans. Congress now has the opportunity to build on this momentum and to act on a common sense plan that will make our economy stronger, our roads faster, and our families safer. We want a safe country. We want safety. It's a plan for building a stronger America. For most of our history, American infrastructure was the envy of the world. True. Go back 30, 40, 50 years, they would look at us like, now we are like, in many cases, a third world country. It's an embarrassment. And we're the ones that had the imagination and the drive to get it done. But we've got that again. Other nations marveled as we connected our shores with transcontinental railroads and brought power to our cities that lit up the sky like no other place on earth, and built mile after mile of internet capabilities and interstate highways to carry American products all across the country and around the globe. Nobody did it like us. We dug out the Panama Canal. Think of that. Thousands of lives were lost to the mosquito. Malaria. We dug out the Panama Canal. We transformed our skylines with towering works of concrete and steel and laid the foundation for the modern economy. To rebuild this nation, we must reclaim that proud heritage. Have to reclaim it. And we're on our way. We must recapture the excitement of creation, the spirit of innovation, and this spark of invention. We're starting. You saw the rocket the other day. You see what's going on with cars. You see what's going on with so much. NASA, space agency, all of a sudden it's back. Do you notice? It was dormant for many, many years. Now it's back. And we're trying to have the private sector invest the money. Why the hell should we do it, right? Let them invest. If they want to send rocket ships up, they're rich. Let them do it. When I looked at the rocket that went up 3 weeks ago, where the tanks came back, nobody's ever seen it. It looks like Star Wars. But I looked at it, and I heard the cost. I think they said $85 million. If the government did that, you're talking about billions of dollars, and maybe it wouldn't work so well. But I thought it was a fantastic thing. But we're working with the private sector and NASA, and we're doing a great job. We've made so much progress in the last year. Don't forget, it's just been a little bit more than a year. But we've made so much progress, and other people are putting up a lot of money. They're using our facilities. I feel like a landlord again. We're leasing them facilities. Not so bad, not a bad idea. And they're doing a great job. America is a nation like you of builders. It's a nation of pioneers, a nation that accepts no limits, no hardship, and never, ever gives up. We don't give up. We don't give up. We will tear down every obstacle, break down every barrier, and stare down every challenge, because our hearts, they bleed red, white, and blue, and we love our great American flag, don't we? Right? Anything we can dream, you can build. You will create the new highways, the new dams and skyscrapers that will become lasting monuments to American strength and continued greatness. You will forge new American steel into the spine of our country. You will cement the foundation of a glorious American future, and you will do it all with those beautiful American hands, powerful heart, and powerful American pride, right? powerful American pride. You are the ones who share our shaping and our destiny. You are the ones who are restoring our prosperity and our pride. You're restoring pride in this country again. Our country had very little pride. Look back. See what was happening. Our country had very little pride. You look at what's going on in California, Orange County. They've had it. There's a revolution going on out there. Sanctuary cities where they protect criminals. They protect murderers. They protect people that you don't want on the streets. Other places in California said, we don't want that. First time they're speaking up. Even look at Roseanne. I called her yesterday. Look at her ratings. Look at her ratings. I got a call from Mark Burnett. He did The Apprentice. He's a great guy. He said, Donald, I called just to say hello and to tell you. Did you see Roseanne's ratings? I said, Mark, how big were they? They were unbelievable. Over 18 million people. And it was about us. They haven't figured it out. The fake news hasn't quite figured it out yet. They have not figured it out. So that was great. And they haven't figured it out. But they will. And when they do, they'll become much less fake. May take a while, but it's happening. But you're the ones who are truly making America great again. We're going to work together. We're going to work with the state of Ohio. We're going to work with everybody. And we're going to bring our country to a level of success and prominence and pride like it has never, ever seen before. Thank you, and God bless America. Thank you. Thank you very much.
To sum up, I'm going to try this one more time to sum up. All the networks cut away from President Trump's speech today. CNN and MSNBC stopped covering it after 15 minutes. Fox stopped covering it after half an hour. Even Fox Business, who was the last one covering it, stopped covering it. So really, by the end of the speech, none of the major TV networks were covering it, even the business networks. Even the news networks, who obsess about Trump all day and all night, couldn't be bothered to show you like the one time he's going to speak in a 4-day period for an hour. They couldn't be bothered. But we will show you that. We show you President Trump's speeches. We show you the entire thing. If you like having a network that does that, as I was saying, please consider donating to Right Side Broadcasting, because we rely on you to stay on the air. That's how we support ourselves, is your donations. So if you'd like to donate to Right Side Broadcasting and keep supporting a network that actually shows you all of the president's speeches for the entire time and doesn't cut away and doesn't talk over them, you can go to the bottom of the YouTube chat and click on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Carl Peterson clicked on the $sign on the YouTube chat. Thank you, Carl, and thank you, Christine Bestjen, for your donations. And thank you, Damian Ruelas. We appreciate it. Damian says, best acid trip of my life, too many Steves. Yeah, we were getting some echo because of the sound issue. It's a whole technical thing. Anyways, more importantly, we want to hear from you guys. What did you think about President Trump's speech? Give me a shout on Twitter, at Lookner, at Lookner. Limerick Man made a donation and said, great work. Euros. Thank you, Limerick Man from Europe. Thank you for your donation. That's very nice of you. We would like to keep bringing you President Trump's events. It's amazing to me, though. It really is amazing. All morning, I know the news networks were obsessing about Trump, and yet he comes on and gives a speech, and they can't be bothered to show you the whole thing. It's really amazing. And what it's not like it's so important what they go back to. They're just going to go back and blabber about Trump. So why not just spend a little time and show his speech? It's crazy. Hey, thank you. Truth Bomb Chord Angle made a donation, said, for my drummer brother Steve. I used to play drums, yes. RSBN is the best. The only place I can get real news. Thank you, Truth Bomb Chord Angle. And Happy Camper made a donation, said, can't resist, must persist. Thanks all for RSBN. Make my day always. Thank you, Happy Camper. And thank you, Tia Marie. She says, have a blessed Easter, Steve and RSBN. And happy Easter to everybody as well out there. Oops, hang on one second here. So we are going to take your comments on the air. And Easter is, actually, it's Sunday. So, or happy early Easter to everybody. We're going to take your comments on the air. What did you think about President Trump's speech? He was focused on infrastructure today. Not too many concrete proposals today, more kind of general, I want to have public-private partnerships. I want to, what's the word I'm looking for about regulation? Streamlining the permits process for infrastructure. He said we've been spending so much money in other countries, but our own country needs money. Talked about he was unsatisfied. He talked about there are a lot of power outages, mass transit is a mess, there's traffic problems. So he wants to spend more on infrastructure. And he said he's committed to doing that. And also he believes it'll help create jobs. David Gingras, thank you for your donation. David says thank you. So he was really talking a lot about jobs today. He talked about, for a bunch of time, he talked about how he approved the Dakota Access Pipeline and the Keystone Pipeline. And he said, I approved them and created more jobs. And something interesting, he said, once I approved them, he said, the people who were picketing just kind of went away. Dory Adams made a donation. Thank you, Dory Adams. That's very nice of you. We appreciate it. Thank you. So we want to hear, what did you think about President Trump's speech today? Write to me on Twitter, @Lookner. One interesting piece of news that came out during the speech is President Trump said during the speech that he's probably going to hold up the new trade deal with South Korea until after there's a deal reached with North Korea. So I guess the idea would be South Korea wants this trade deal with us, but we want to have them help us out with North Korea. So we'll wait to conclude the deal with North Korea. I guess that's a new thing. No one had heard he was going to do that before. So that was kind of a piece of news. Hey, John Doty made a donation, said RSBN rock, spread the word. Thank you, John. And Eric Langlitz made a donation, said 2 Steves, 2 scoops, 2 terms, love RSBN. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, sorry about the sound malfunction. That was unintentional, but anyways. Write to me, let me know what you thought of President Trump's speech today. President Trump also, there was an interesting part in his speech when he talked about SpaceX. He said something like, did you see that launch a little while ago where they launched a rocket and then the 2 boosters came back and they landed safely? And that was a SpaceX launch. And President Trump said that if the government did that, it would be way more expensive than if the private sector did it. And he was saying that, I believe, in the context of encouraging public-private partnerships for infrastructure. Oh, he also wants more training for students in training programs in construction and skilled trades. He wants federal money for that. He said his infrastructure plan, if it's approved, will create 400,000 infrastructure jobs almost immediately. Also talked about he wants to expand rural broadband. So we'll see what actually happens. Will there be anything passed? Will Congress pass any kind of infrastructure bill? We're close to the election, so we're getting closer to the election. Only about 7 months until the congressional elections. Sylvan Truck, thank you for your donation. Very nice of you. Thank you, Sylvan Truck. What else was he talking about that I wanted to mention? I made some notes here. Oh, he said he wants to have if you want to build a project, he said he wants the federal government to have one point of contact, so you don't have to go to lots of different federal government departments. He said he wants there to be one point of contact in the federal government where you can just apply to build something and your project will get a yes or no. Jackson Baker writes in, the Trump administration should focus on impressing the inner cities by proposing something like building the world's tallest building for homeless people or something. Democrats can't say no to that. So you're saying more generally that if President Trump, some of his infrastructure is directed specifically toward maybe Democrat constituencies, that could be something the Democrats approve. Before President Trump even took office, there were a lot of people who thought that he might do infrastructure first because infrastructure in general is something that the Democrats could get behind. It hasn't happened yet, although it hasn't really been President Trump's focus. So we'll see. Will the Democrats get behind it, or maybe the Democrats will be like, we don't want to give President Trump a victory in his, before the election. So we'll have to see what happens. American Wife writes in, the speech was great, just watched it on YouTube. Thank you, American Wife, for watching. By the way, if there is breaking news today, we will come on and talk about it. Also, I will post about it on my Twitter. You can always follow me on Twitter for breaking news at Lookner, at Lookner. And be sure to subscribe and follow to us subscribe to and follow us on our different platforms: YouTube, Right Side Broadcasting. Click the notifications bell when you subscribe. Facebook, Right Side Broadcasting. Twitter, at RSB Network, and Periscope, RSBN TV. Big thank you to Jake Seals, who's producing today. And you can follow Jacob on Twitter at JacobRSBN Music. Jacob also does the music for RSBN. And moderators, we got JC is there right now in the chat room moderating, and whoever else was there. Guinevere is there too. So thank you to moderators and Common Sense and Gleno on the website. So we are taking your comments on President Trump's infrastructure speech. Write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. But I got to say, to repeat, I'm quite surprised that literally every network cut away from the speech, even Fox. And then when they cut it today, and when they cut away, and Fox Business, and Fox, when they cut away, they talked about Trump. Now, Fox Business, at least, they cut away after about an hour. And they were talking, I think they wanted to talk about like what was going on in the stock markets. They might feel, well, look, we're a business news network, and so we got to at least keep some focus on what's going on in the stock market because a lot of our viewers are watching us for that. But the other news networks are all news networks who obsess about Trump constantly, almost 24 hours a day. And it just stuns me that they just can't be bothered to show President Trump's like one or two big speeches a week. Can't do it. But we do it here at Right Side Broadcasting. Oh, by the way, I don't think President Trump mentioned the Russia response today to our response to the Russian ex-spy who was poisoned with nerve agent in the UK. So the UK and the US believe that Russia attempted to kill one of its ex-spies in the UK, in England, around a month ago. And I think it was last week, it might have been actually a few days ago, the US said, we're going to close the Russian consulate in Seattle and also expel 60 Russian diplomats from the U.S. in response as a punishment for that. So today, in response, Russia announced that it was going to expel 60 U.S. diplomats, and Russia said it's going to expel 65 EU diplomats, and Russia said that it's going to close the U.S. consulate in St. Petersburg. Now, I don't agree with this headline. It says tensions are worse than decades. Well, I guess how many decades? I mean, I don't think it's worse than the Cuban Missile Crisis. Probably like Cold War stuff was worse tensions than this. I don't necessarily agree with. So if you want to say, if by decades you mean like 15 or 20 years, maybe, but I don't know. It seems like maybe overstating it a little bit. Just because they expelled each other's diplomats. And it's not even, it's like, there's plenty more diplomats than the ones they expelled. And they can also replace the ones they expelled with different people. So I don't know about that. But President Trump I don't believe he mentioned it. I didn't hear him mention it. Garrett writes, and I thought Trump said we now have $1.9 billion to build the wall, so confirming that he will use the military budget. So, Garrett, what he was referring to is in the latest spending bill, if I'm getting it right, President Trump got $1.9 billion to spend on the wall, which is much less than he wanted. But he was saying, well, at least we have that to start on it. But he wants much more than that for the wall. Let's see. You can see back in January, he was seeking $18 billion for the Mexican border wall. $18 billion he was seeking back in January. And then, was it 1.9 or less? Let's see. Oh, yeah, it was 1.6, I guess, in the latest spending bill. In the latest spending bill, here's what Congress is stuffing into the 1.3 trillion spending bill, and you can see. Hey, hold on! I have to sign into the Washington Post. Hang on. For some reason, it keeps signing me out. Where is it? The bill provides $1.6 billion for barriers along the U.S.-Mexico border wall, but with serious strings attached. None of it can go to any of the prototypes either. So these were all the strings attached for the $1.6 billion in the latest spending bill included $251 million is earmarked specifically for secondary fencing near San Diego, where fencing is already in place. $445 million is for no more than 25 miles of levee fencing. $196 million is for primary pedestrian fencing in the Rio Grande Valley. $445 million is for the replacement of existing fencing in that area, and the rest is for planning, design, and technology, not for wall construction. So he will need more if he wants it to build a lot more to build the wall he wants to build. Royal Kitty sent me a shot of her puppy. Royal Kitty, I'm not going to show this on the air because I don't want to encourage people to be off topic, but thank you for sending it. SoCal Boho Gal writes, and having less departments involved will cut out a lot of corruption, wasted and disappearing taxpayer dollars. Hope he'll do the same to healthcare. Let's see here. Pork Mohammed says, most likely he thinks the nerve agent attack in the UK was a MI6 Mossad op. So you think it was Britain and Israel who do it. They still mad that communism's inherent genocide fell while people were still alive. Now, that's not what the U.S. and British governments are saying. They're saying it was Russia who did it. JC, one of our moderators, says, Steve, what a speech. I've been waiting on this infrastructure rally. Thank you. And wow, what a mic drop. Go POTUS. Thank you, JC, and all our other moderators. Bacon Cat writes, great speech. I felt very inspired and ready to get back to work for our country. All right, I'm going to make a last call here for comments on President Trump's speech. What do you think about the infrastructure speech? Do you think he's going to get an infrastructure bill through Congress before the election or no? Give me a shout. Let me know. You'd think this might be something that the parties can agree on, but I don't know in an election year if it's going to happen. But we want to hear from you at Lookner on Twitter, And again, if there's breaking news later today, we will definitely come back on the air. Oh, and just so you know where he was speaking today, he was in Richfield, Ohio, speaking to the members of the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 18. That's who he was speaking to today. All right. I think we've gotten to the end of the comments, and I think we're going to wrap up this stream. So we very much appreciate you joining us today. Hey, big thanks to the donors. A number of you donated. That's really nice of you, and that's what keeps us on the air. Oh, NVSBL2 made a donation. Thank you, NVSBL2. Thank you. That's what allows us to do these broadcasts. That's what allows us to bring you the entire President Trump speech when all the TV networks are just cutting away from the speech. We show you the entire thing. So if you want to support Right Side Broadcasting, if you enjoy our coverage, please go to the bottom of the YouTube chat, click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. You can even get free Right Side stuff like this Right Side mug by setting up a monthly donation at rsbn.tv/donate. Thank you to our moderators, JC and Guinevere, in the YouTube chat, Common Sense and Gleno on the website for moderating our chat. Thank you to Jake Seals for producing today. Jacob Seals. He's at Jacob RSBN Music. And I always forget, Jacob does the music for Right Side Broadcasting. Jacob, if people want to text me, Jacob, where can people find your music? I'm asking Jake right now. He says you can go check it out. Maybe you want to buy some of his music or listen to it. I think it's on Bandcamp somewhere. He'll tell me. RSBN Music, rsbnmusic.bandcamp.com. rsbnmusic.bandcamp.com. That's where to find Jacob Seals' music. And thank all of you for joining us and sending in your comments. Thank you for sending in your comments about the speech and for watching the broadcast. Oh, David Pope writes in, did I miss it? Who is paying for this plan, especially after tax cuts? Well, David, one thing the president wants to do is he wants there to be public-private partnerships. So I think what he wants is to have have the government be giving incentives but not pay for the whole thing or even most of these projects, and having private businesses partner with the government so that they pay the expense. I would assume that means that they get some of the revenue, for example, on a toll road or something like that. But it is a good look. This has to be worked out. Who's paying for this, David? So David is skeptical we can pay for the infrastructure we need given the tax cuts. Thank you for writing in, David. And as I mentioned before, not a lot of specifics here. I've tried to do a little research in the past. I haven't done it today on what exactly this public-private partnership would look like. And it's not the easiest thing to research. If you Google it, you kind of don't get a lot of well, here's the basic plan. Here's what exactly would happen. So I'm interested in seeing if more specific plans come out and what they say. Let's see here. When I posted that Fox News had stopped covering the speech, and Kristen Andreen wrote back, must mean they've got to get back to real fake news. I'm so confused, LOL, don't know what to believe anymore. Hashtag Fox Not News, hashtag Fox Entertainment. We're going to wrap up. Thank you, people, for saying thanks in the chat room. Thank you to Propis, NVSBL2, Bacon Cat 42, Tony Carl Peterson, Tia Marie, DM, The American, who else? Light Switch, Anna Justice, 7 Up, Bicentennial Bear, Sanity Personified. Kathy Sanders says good speech. John Doty, have a good one. Luciferin, thank you. Flying Eagle, Carl Peterson, Bacon Cat. Oak made a donation, Oak 1971, and said, MAGA, thank you, Oak, very much. Kay Philly, thank you. Irene Soto, thank you. So we're going to wrap it up for now. If there's big news today, we will see you later on. Thank you for choosing Right Side for your coverage today of President Trump's speech. And thank you again to the moderators and to Jake Seals for producing. So we'll see you soon, I'm sure. From all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting, have a fantastic day. And till next time, when we see you with more news here at RSBN. Have a good one.